trout historically thrived in the eastern slope watershed. As an indicator species, they are used as a measurement to understand how healthy the water in an ecosystem is. Since the early 2000s, these trout have been trying to tell us something, and it took until they were designated as threatened for us to listen. Now, there are organizations speaking up on behalf of these fish. Angela Ten is a biologist at Freshwater Conservation, one of the organizations that has joined the Native Trout Collaborative.
It was a good opportunity to bring a whole bunch of people with different backgrounds and expertise together to work together and collaborate towards the singular goal of improving native trout populations and habitat.
Recovery for the native trout is challenging, however, says Leslie Peterson, Director of Conservation at Freshwater Canada. And the collaborative's organizations hit many roadblocks concerning funding.
Yeah, I think with funding, it's always a bit of a constant hustle for charities. We're always looking at grants from foundations, from corporations, and sponsorships and donations, and we've even considered crowdfunding campaigns. So we just have to stay on our toes and be creative.
Regardless of how much work it is, the Native Trout Collaborative's organizations find ways to make small steps in the right direction.
And we did 2 culvert replacements in the Wipers Creek watershed northwest of Cochrane. And it's a small watershed, 2 little creeks that flow into Wipers Creek. It's critical habitat. There's cutthroat trout and bull trout that use these systems. And we identified these road crossings as problematic because fish couldn't get from downstream to upstream. Over a period of about 5 years, we sort of chipped away at all the issues and replaced both of the culverts, which together was nearly $1 million, and installed some bridges for recreational users for quads. We installed some beaver dam analogs. The beavers came back and now they're maintaining the system to a higher standard than we ever could. There's more water, it lasts longer, the fish are moving upstream. There's new species of fish like long-nosed dace that we haven't seen there before. So it's one that's we've just invested a ton of work in a really small area and we're already seeing the improvements, and it's extremely satisfying.
Recovering habitat is only one part of the battle. A lot of the collaborative's efforts go towards communicating with and educating Albertans on why native trout matter. Amy Burlando is the provincial riparian area specialist at Cows and Fish, and says her organization really tries to get the community to empathize with the loss of trout.
Because fish aren't necessarily something that people interact with all the time, you might not ever see a native trout, especially because they're threatened now. You rarely will ever get to touch one unless you're an angler. So it's a really part of getting people to understand what these fish look like, why they're so cool, why they're important. I mean, really they're the best indicators for watershed health that you can have. When you start to see a loss of fish, you know something's happening with your water quality.
Alberta's native trout are not out of the woods yet. And with lack of funding and attention from Albertans, their existence hangs in the balance. But the collaborative believes in their recovery and that their work is doing something more than just reviving fish populations.
We're doing a lot more than just recovering native trout. We're actually helping our society and our landscapes adapt to the impacts of climate change.
To find out more about native trout recovery projects, visit the Alberta Native Trout Collaborative's website. For the Calgary Journal, I'm Alex Yonts.